Welcome everyone. We've got Kyle here from CFC Finance, who is a successful mortgage broker and has helped thousands of people buy their own home and work with investors to provide creative solutions for wealth creation. He's progressed from being an employee to owning his own business for the last 4 years. Kyle, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Luke. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
So firstly, I'd like to identify with you the single biggest challenge that you currently are facing in business and how are you addressing it?
So I was thinking about the podcast when you sent it out, and I think finding partnerships I think it's always going to be a challenge for business owners. And how do you manage those partnerships and grow the right partnerships?
Yeah, I'm thinking from a point of view of, client partnerships, but it's also sort of supplier partnerships as well. How do you sort of differ with each one?
Great question. So I think there's different levels of partnerships. So obviously the most sacred to a business partnership is going to be the relationship with the customer. So firstly, why would the customer want to partner with me? But also, what value can I add to this client in the partnership? And is this the client I want to partner with? I'm going to be so in the finance hat, I spend a lot of time with this client. We're going to be spending a lot of time getting to know them, getting to know their family, spending a lot of time. I actually want to like the client because it makes it much easier to work that long-term relationship if you get along and you like each other. And that feeling has to be mutual. From a business hat, with the couple different business ventures that I'm going through, it's then on a different level. It's who am I going to partner with, both as an equity partner, partnerships with staff, and who am I bringing on to grow the business? Because I've always had the belief that I don't want me to be the business ceiling. I want to bring in people who are smarter than me, have different skills, different attributes, so that the business can be bigger than Kyle. And finding those relationships to partner with is a challenge.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's interesting to look at the different perspectives in between a business partnership and in terms of clients and then suppliers as well, or people that are referring your business. So it is something for people to really consider. In terms of clients, we all go through it at the start, Kyle, where a lot of people are taking on whichever client that they can to start building the business. And often we probably regret or, really go through a lot of issues with, initial clients that we get on board because they take you through the cleaners, don't they?
And I think it's very important to know which clients you want to work with, and just as important to understand which clients you don't want to work with. And when I started off as a bank manager for a long time, when I started off as a broker, firstly as an employee, I spent a lot of time chasing deals that I could do and clients that I liked, but it was outside of my skill set. And so I could do it, but it wasn't my bread and butter. And it ended up distracting me from what I was really, really good at and did every day. And so understanding where you want to spend those and which partnerships you want to choose. So very important things to think about.
Next, I'd like to go through the idea of one challenge that has changed everything for you in business.
Great. I think I'm going to stick to the theme of partnerships. One thing that changed my business completely happened about 4 years ago. And I was an employee. However, I've always had the belief that no matter where you work, you got to have that entrepreneurial mindset of, even if I'm an employee, I'm going to run and work like I own this business. And that has always done incredibly well. In corporate life, before getting into banking, did incredibly well, promoted, you get the opportunities. And so that is a hack. If you want to have a 90-day strategy, whatever you do it as if it's your business. Show that ownership and you will be rewarded, regardless of what it is. But I decided, I'm running this like it's my business. I want to step up and own the business, own a share of the business. And it caused starting a partnership and then understanding where those partnership values were misaligned, though, caused a huge amount of pain, a huge amount of difficulty. And it ended up amazingly. And 4 years ago, I ended up taking over the business. But it's understanding and managing those transitions of partnerships and the values that each partner brings into it. That can be a huge challenge for investors, entrepreneurs, business owners, etc.
Yeah, there's a lot around people in business with clients, suppliers, or partnerships as well. So something for everyone to really align from themselves. And I've been speaking to people lately around investing and thinking about, like, they're looking at the legal terms of contracts and agreements. And I'm really bringing it back for them about the people that are involved. So it is a big one. Um, I guess we have answered this a little bit, but to really deep dive in the whole people and business partnerships, what do you look for in a business partner before committing, Kyle?
I think values has always been my core number one thing that I look at. So understanding if you can have different skill sets, that's good. I mean, Luke, you and I have worked together for 8 years, and I love our partnership and our relationship together, and we challenge each other. So you can have different ideas, have very different personalities. You can have different skill experience. But values is the one thing that I think is the most important to understand when getting into a partnership relationship and understanding what is their core values. And I mean, there's a huge one that I'm following very closely in the media right now, which is the Ben and Jerry's dispute with Unilever and now Magnum, and understanding what is your company value and is in their case, the person who bought the business, are their values aligned? And it's causing huge issues at the moment because there's very clearly a misalignment of values. And so I think values and understanding the value of what your business, what are you trying to achieve, and that of your business partner, you have to have that down pat, number one. Everything else can be negotiable, but those core values I see as pivotal to the entire engagement.
What are like one, two, or three core values that you really resonate with and look for in a business partner?
I think honesty, integrity, um, doing the right thing, and having that as the core. It's that, I mean, I love the integrity. Do the right thing. It's about acting the same way when people are watching you and when they're not watching you.
Mm.
That is pivotal. It's those hidden factors. Like values as far as valuing time management, great, but you can manage around it. That's something you can learn or manage to. Values about financial control. Again, you can hire a great CFO or get a really good virtual CFO or accountant and keep you on track of that. I think for me, the values thing is how are you going to treat your clients? How are you going to treat your employees? How are you going to treat those other entrepreneurs around you, those business partners that you're going to pick up? Those values and the respect for those partners around you is the core thing for me. That is the non-negotiable.
Fantastic. Really good insight there for people thinking about the values that they're working with in terms of business partners. Kyle, we've talked a lot about technology. How do you identify and evaluate emerging trends or opportunities to stay ahead of the curve? Obviously, both businesses that we've been in, you're a mortgage broker, and previously me being a buyer's agent, is an area where there's an influx of people coming in the industry, especially mine, as a barrier to entry is a little bit lower. But what are those emerging trends for you?
A little lower. Sorry, cheeky. Look.
It is a little lower. I would agree with that.
And I think education, just adding to that, education is pivotal and understanding that experience that someone does have and bringing that through. I mean, you can always learn these things, but it's quality. Side note. I think evaluating the market's always changing, always growing. And I know you and I have had so many discussions about AI and the incredible opportunities that presents there. And I think it's very easy as well to get distracted with that. For me, I want to know what is the voice of my customer. I can build something really cool. I could start a new adventure. Or I could do something that's exciting. And I really like it. But how is this actually going to help my clients? Does my client want this? Number one. And number two, how do I provide value within the space? Yes, I could go and do something, but is it actually going to provide a value above what's already either available, someone else is doing it? Am I actually going to be able to provide an added value to this? Because should I spend my time on it? What value can I add to my client's life by participating in this, and whichever client that is, in this engagement or in this new adventure or in this finance application? Can I actually provide them with a value? Am I going to make their life better because they knew me? And if I can't, I'm not going to be involved in it. So I think understanding that and very much listening to the voice of the customer.
Well, what are three actionable items that you would recommend listeners do in the next 90 days to really lift themselves up and head them in the right direction?
I love. I'm very conscious, like with my finance and with everything. I'm very good at do as I say, not as I do. So from an intellectual point, one of the things that I talk to my clients the most about um, is probably going to be self medicine for me as well to listen to. So I can't wait to listen back to this podcast. But I think write down your goals and think about what you want to achieve. Okay, think about what is the plans you want to put in those next 90 days. And I think 90 days is great, and you have to have a 90-day plan. But I think it's pivotal to start with a 5 or 10-year plan first. When you know where you're wanting to end up in 10 years' time, you can then work that back to, okay, I know where I'm trying to aim. Let me do a 90-day plan so I get some action. Let's start it. But I want to make sure that whatever I'm starting is heading in the right direction. In the property, in 10 years, 5 years' time, you want to have a family, you want to have a family home, and that's the most important thing for you. I'm not going to necessarily go down the adventure of starting a brand new business with no income that's going to take 7 years to do. I might think about, okay, well, let's look at that. And understanding where that 10-year goal is, because you can always adjust you should be adjusting your 90-day plans every 30 days and reviewing, looking back. But setting that strategy in line with the future. So I think understanding where you want to go. I think celebrating your success. I think a lot of the time we think about what we're not good at. But I think work out what are you actually good at? What are the things you can do really well? And I think if you understand those things very well, you can put those in because we get coaching. We want to get coaching and support, and we want to spend our time focusing on the stuff that we're great at. Build a team of people around you for the stuff that you're not great at. But focus and understand what are your strengths. And I think understanding your why. For me, it's always been about why. Why is the core for me in everything. Why am I doing this? What is the impact of what I'm going to be doing? Why should I be doing this instead of leaving it to someone else to do? And I think those are three things that if you can understand, will really set you up for success.
I feel like it was 10, but always happy to take some bonus ones as well.
I'm very shy, I'm not good at talking in front
I
of the
wrote
camera.
them down so I can keep you accountable for it, and that's probably another thing for people. You obviously said team and coaches in there as well, so that's an important part of keeping you on track, especially in that first 90 days and then beyond that as well. Kyle, lastly, what is one word in terms of legacy that you really want to instill to help people beyond financial success?
This is a really tough question. I've got lots. Purpose is the one that jumps straight to mind because my business tagline is every step with purpose. And I love having purpose, both from the lending side,
Look at that.
purpose in what loan, what's the purpose, investment owner occupied. So it's a play on that. But why are we doing this and the why? But if I've got to bring it down to one word, I think it really needs to be value. How am I showing value to those around me? Am I treating every other human around me with value and care? Am I valuing the employees that work for me, my internal stakeholders? Am I valuing my external stakeholders, my accountants, financial planners, buyers agents that I'm working with? Am I providing them value, both at an emotional friendship level, but also at a business level? Most importantly, am I providing my clients value? Are my clients better off because they've worked with me or not? And what value every interaction, what is the value that I've provided in that interaction is core. So I think if we're always thinking about the value that we can add, what is the value of this interaction? What is the value, hopefully to your listeners, what is the value of this podcast to them achieving their goals, both financially and in business, because the two are very closely linked. What is the value that I can provide? And if you're thinking about value, at the moment, I think that would be my one word.
Thanks so much, Kyle. This has been a great podcast for people to get the value that you're providing in your experience and in seeing what you've gone through from being an employee all the way through to being a business owner. But that mindset, I really like that idea of that mindset of always think, if you're an employee, as if you were the business owner. People always talk about as if you were that, as if you were already achieving your goals. So one thing to leave everyone with today. Thank you so much, Kyle Manson, and wish you all the success. And we'll talk soon.
Catch up.